abide by the community guidelines, always. Don't step away from the community guidelines, ever. Pay attention to the community guidelines. Good morning. Tis I, Polzigo, here again. Good day to you, mate. Tip top of the morning. Tip top of the morning to you. Yeah. I don't know about dreadful. I don't know if I'd go dreadful, but it's pretty bad. It's just foggy and gray and shitty. That's okay, though. It's not super cold as a result of the cloud cover, which is nice. I prefer that. Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, like, people are asleep on this Cholakian shit, bro. People are asleep on a lot of stuff, though, I've noticed. They're asleep on Operation Simultaneous Hydra Decapitation. Right? They're asleep on the sweat index, which has predicted the last 3 elections. It's the new keys. It's the new fucking Allen Ginsberg's keys, or whatever the fuck his name was. Right? Hello, Poland. Well, I mean, I guess I'm okay. If skies were clear up here, it would be way colder. Like, yeah, the fog, this low-hanging cloud cover warms the ground, right? It warms the air. It's like a blanket. Like a greenhouse. It's the greenhouse effect. The brain broken or dude, the walking wounded are out there, bro. The walking wounded. Kamala or Trump? Oh God, could you hook me up? I need a little electoralism, man. Anybody got some electoralism, man? I need some electoralism, bro. What the fuck, bro? So, coffee needs to happen. I'm gonna do that. And while I'm getting that brewed, I'll take my morning medication. And then, yeah, I'll be right back, I guess. I guess that's what needs to happen. Well, I guess I'll finish this smoke and then. Did you set up the thing where you order food on stream? No. No. Dude, I don't need, like, look at me, bro. I need less food, if anything, right? I'm just getting better at less food. to the point where I've lost a significant amount of weight. And I don't think that allowing you guys to purchase me like pizzas all day is going to help any of that. Looks cold. I mean, I'm acclimating myself, dude, because I may or may not be moving north, okay? So I think it has to go a certain way. Homeless and trampy? The fuck do I care what some dumbass motherfucker thinks I look like? Bro, if you reach my age and you ain't beyond that, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, I know you guys are like meticulously snipping them broccoli tops so that girls don't make fun of you. You know what I mean? Meticulously snipping them broccoli tops. I don't give a fuck, bro. Can you roll R's? Roll R's. I can roll R's like a true Scotsman. True. 55? 10 years off. I won't tell you which direction. Smoking. Scanning. Beard. Smoking. Beard. Smoking. Smoking. Oh, you like my F gas? Yeah, dude. Sometimes you got to give them an F gas. I'm usually giving them like the low angle, you know? Sometimes you got to give them the F gas, dude. Bro, what happened to your other half of the beard? Crazy fucking story, bro. Crazy fucking story. I don't even know if you could fucking believe it, bro. I don't even know if you believe it. And it's a little inappropriate, to be honest with you. It's a little inappropriate. If you ask again, I'll tell it. Is it a bet? I bet you're not going to like the answer if you keep asking. I bet you in particular are not going to like the answer. Everybody else might like the answer, but you're not going to like it. Smoking. Beard. Smoking. Beard. Smoking. Beard. Smoking. Beard. Smoking. Beard. Smoking. Smoking. Beard. Smoking. Glasses. Glasses. Beard. Smoking. Coffee is brewing. Medications are taken. All is right in the world, right? Jesus, beard, glasses, smoking. Oh, you can guarantee there are Jesus bots, dude. You can guarantee. That's not even a question. They're botting Jesus for sure. They're throwing Jesus all the way out there. Let's pray to the Jesus. Meep, morp, meep, morp. Like even in small doses, it's a bot face. It's a bot fiesta, dude. Like even when, you know, the stream is still just winding up, it's a bot fest, bro. Like empty brain shit. Look at it. Bot fest, doopity doo. I've got another bot fest for you. And it's just like somebody's gotta ask a question. I guess it doesn't matter because it's farming engagement, right? So I guess what they say doesn't matter. But man, I wish they'd make you guys more entertaining. You crazy fucking bot shit. Loving these mods removing random comments. I mean, they're not random. If you look at them, they're the same comment over and over and over again. Bot after bot, spam after spam. You see what I mean? It's fucking wild too. But at least it's comforting knowing that most of it isn't real people. Another bot comment. What am I watching? Well, then, I apologize. I don't require an apology from you. See what I mean, dude? The weirdest names, too. Cybertruck Trips. What you smoking? The weirdest shit, bro. Most are real. You're just being delusional. Guy named Turkey Leg with no PFP. First comment in the channel. Okay, bud. I mean, 01101010001111001010101. You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. The bots in the chat got that one. Yep, another bot. I don't know what this is, but I'm here now with a Rafflemile smiley. Bro, who's gonna be literally in tears Rafflemiling over that weak shit? Yep, another bot. Just bot after bot, bro. Strange shit. Bot after bot, bro. Bot after bot. Shot after shot, bro. They just keep coming. And really the only beneficiary of this kind of botting is YouTube itself, because it gets to point at these numbers and say that they're real when they're clearly not. I mean, out of 108 people in here, just judging from the chat, I'd say like half of you are real people. The other half, like, sub mode doesn't even save us though. These bots are fucking, they'll sub to you. Drop some cash, prove your humanity. Yeah. A bot won't pay you. I was hoping he would remember when he had that insanely funny stream with the Fedora Booger guy. Fedora Booger guy? I don't know who you're talking about, bro. Sometimes these memes like stick with you, but dude, I've probably done what, like, do it in your head, like a few hundred shows and probably like half a thousand streams between there and there. I remember the name and I remember him picking his nose, but if you want me to like remember specifics about that, yeah, that's what I remember. I remember the name. I remember that there was a video of him picking and flicking while he was driving around in somebody else's car. Loved the conversation between you, Destiny, and Anna. It was fun. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I don't know why, like, I mean, does it need to be said, like, clearly joking about Operation Simultaneous Hydra Decapitation? It's just, you can never get people who are involved on one side or the other of these types of wars, invasions, right? You can never get them to answer, like, what's the broader picture here? Like, what like, and so out of frustration for hearing that arming Ukraine until there's not a single person left in Ukraine that can fucking lift a gun, I, went Steven Seagal movie with it, right? So I was just trying to bring a little levity. I'm not going to come to a change in the way that I feel about, average people being sent to fight and die in wars that really, at the end of the day, they have no stake in. I just don't, I don't think my mind is going to be changed on that. I'm willing to listen, and I think, a very eloquent case can be made, right? But, maybe I'm brain broken. There's a quote from Full Metal Jacket, right? Where Joker is on his way to Way City because he wants to be in the shit. And his first dose of the shit is finding a mass grave filled with, South Korea, or not South Korean, South Vietnamese loyalists, right, who were killed by the VC. And he writes in his article, the dead have been covered with lime. The dead only know one thing: it is better to be alive, right? And I understand this is like artistic, interpretive stuff, and this is an emotionally compromised soldier seeing a horrible act of war, right? Just horrible brutality and human suffering, right? But those types of moments stick with me in a way that cannot make me put the hopes and dreams, as beautiful as they may be, of a nation state over just throwing human beings into a meat grinder, right? I just can't do it. You a big gun guy? No. Do I have a gun? That's none of your business. Do I know how to use a gun? Yes. I was raised around guns. See what I mean? Bought. It's just bought after bought, bro. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to wait in line now. As soon as these dumb bots figure out how to spread around some subs and shit, it's going to be Jover for this little tool. I mean, there are already some, functional and arguable bots that find their way behind this. You know what I mean? Yeah, tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that. You can't explain that. Hot take: the first Purge movie is pretty good. Like, pretty entertaining and fun conceptually, and well acted, I think. It's got Ethan Hawke, who I always like, and then it's got the lady that played Cersei Lannister, who I think is really talented as well, right? It's got a kid in it, but the kid is not totally fucking retardedly annoying to the point where you can't watch. How about that? The first Purge. I ain't gonna carry no water for any other Purge, right? Any other part of the Purge. But the first Purge movie is pretty good. You like the sequel better? Which one is the sequel? The Purge 2? Or is it called something else? Because I fucking, I'm afraid to watch any of the other ones because I don't know where in the garbage timeline am I? Purge 2 Anarchy. Nah. I liked the first Purge. If you're going to make the Purge, just make a bunch of movies like that. Where it's people are just trying to lock down in their house, and then there are crazy Purge freaks that try and get in, right? For whatever reason. Just come up. That's really the only thing you got to change, right? Change a little bit of the locale, change the family, and change the reason that the Purgers single this family out, right? I don't understand. It's almost like these companies don't know how to bleed a franchise dry properly. It's sad, but I feel like I could do it better And I'm a guy that just like hates these surreptitious sequels and the way that they'll take a franchise that has like promise and interest and just shit all over it. It's like, if you're gonna make sequels, understand this, right? So like, say you've got like a Freddy Krueger movie, right? Let's just take Nightmare on Elm Street, right? And it hits like it did, right? It's a small like budget movie in comparison, right? But it hits big. And you've got this concept and people are clamoring for more, right? What do you do with number 2? Like how do you make Freddy 2? Clearly you make a giant gay sex party movie. You know what I mean? I don't like they just like there seems to be this idea that like people want to see Freddy, but they want it different. And it's like, no. They just want Freddy to do Freddy shit. So just let him do Freddy shit. And the best movies in the fucking long and kind of shitty Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, the best ones, the most notable ones, are the ones where somebody came along and was like, hey, how about we let Freddy do Freddy shit? Okay, you know what I mean? Tremors, the first Tremors was good, but yeah, dude, the concept was fun. The movie wrapped up in an interesting way. I didn't need Tremors 8, you know what I mean? I didn't need Tremors 9. Tremors 1 was enough for me, you know what I mean? And I think they could have kept it going, maybe, but I just kind of think like that concept doesn't really carry very far. Yeah, third Nightmare, right, was okay. And they kind of went off the rails a little bit for a while. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, even looking at it from the cynical perspective of like a movie exec, right? I think I could do a better job bleeding a franchise out than they do. Because it's just like, just reiterate the same thing until people are sick of it, right? Then wait 10 years and do it again for nostalgia. Fucking, I just printed you $1 billion if you can make a movie. You know what I mean? Rewatched all the Nightmare films up to Freddy's Dead and enjoyed all of them, but Freddy's Dead was odd. Yeah, I mean, there's something to enjoy. Like, it's like me with the Hellraiser franchise, right? It's like there's something enjoyable about all of them, but it's not enough to overcome the shittiness, the laziness, the obvious, like, hey, we tacked on. At least Freddy never got that treatment. Freddy did get some wild fucking shit, but he never got that treatment. And Freddy 2 is a shitty movie. It's subversive, but that doesn't make it good. Right? It's clearly a movie where somebody had some power and they were like, I'm going to do a fucking gay allegory here. I'm going to do an LGBTQIA allegory movie with Freddy as the background. And I'm going to lace it with fucking, you know, gay overtones and undertones, right? I don't got a problem with that, but it doesn't, like, they didn't succeed in making it that plus a good movie, right? Did you pure the weight back on? Imagine subscribing, sitting silently for a minute, and then your attempted dig is just a giant fucking faceplant and you get banned before you even get a chance to correct it. Imagine having that much free time on your hands, bro. Unbelievable. At 9 a.m. too. Jesus. At 9 in the fucking morning. Freddy's Revenge has some really cool practicals and held up better than I thought it would. Yeah, sure. Whatever, you know. I think the Freddy movies are Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Dream Warriors, and that's about it. Those are the two movies that I think survive the test of time and that are like worth showing to somebody. I mean, if you're a big enthusiast of Freddy, go watch the rest of them, but they just like all the rest of them miss the mark, like fundamentally. So if you're gonna include woke stuff, I don't even care about the woke stuff, bro. Like, I want an interesting film. I don't care who the characters are. I don't care what their genetic makeup is. I don't care what their gender expression is. I want an interesting fucking film, bro. You can drape your politics all over a movie, bro. All the greats did, right? All the greats. Drape your politics all over it, bro. There are examples of both of this type of filmmaking, you know, that are really good. You take a dude that's like crazy right wing, so right wing that most right wingers don't like him. What's his name? The dude that did that fucking movie. Fuck, what's it called? It's the one with it's got young Patrick Swayze in it. It's like an Alaskan town that gets invaded by Russia, and like the kids go out in the woods and learn to be survivalists so that they can fight back against the Russian troops. Like that movie, I forget the fucking name of it. Red Dawn. Yeah. Red Dawn. That movie, the director and writer of that film is a crazy right-wing fucking libertarian gun nut kind of fucking prepper dude, right? Definitely not a guy that I would see eye to eye with politically. But that movie is dope, right? He drapes his politics all over it. It's all about survivalism and the Second Amendment and being prepared and blah, 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 right? Drapes his personal philosophy all over the film, creates this avatar for his politics, but it's fucking good. It's a good movie. You know what I mean? On the other end of that, you know, I already brought it up earlier. You take Full Metal Jacket, right? This is a movie that, like, you know, Stanley Kubrick's politics are draped all over this film, right? The way it's shot, the way it's presented, the intimate kind of like death scene at the end of the movie, which if you haven't seen it, there's no point in spoiling it because talking about it doesn't do it justice, right? Those things are meant to shock a nation out of its stupor when there's war going on. It's meant to show the end result of war on both sides, right? Kubrick's politics, or presumptive politics, draped all over it. Like just a giant blanket of here's my politics, but it's a fantastic film from start to finish. Well, Nicholas, let me ask you if you're like me, because I get the feeling from you that maybe you're a little to the right of me, right? But when it comes to, we're talking movies now, right? What is the point of the film, right? Is the point of the film to cram politics in my face? Or is the point of the film to entertain me? Right? Different films, different answers. And that's how I judge whether or not somebody's politics have fucked up a film, right? If it feels like I'm just being preached at, bro, I can go anywhere on the internet and get preached at from 100 different fucking angles about people's personal philosophies and shit, right? What I can't do is be entertained anywhere on the fucking internet at any given time, right? So, like, I don't know. How do you feel about your discussion with Destiny? It's cool. I just like talking to the guy. One of the craziest things about interacting with Destiny is, just from my perspective, is and I think I know why, bro. I think there's a lot of like clout sharking or whatever that goes on in his community. And I think people assume that's my angle. When my angle is what I said it was from the very fucking beginning, right? I've watched Destiny for a long time. I think he's interesting. And I think talking to him is interesting, right? I like talking to the guy. He may not feel the same way, but he gave me perms and he hasn't pulled them. He doesn't tell me get the fuck out of here, right? And so I assume that on some level he enjoys the interaction or finds it at least to be fruitful for stream content. I really, his kind of end of it is his own. I wouldn't want to mind read that, but for my part, I just like talking to the dude. You know what I mean? And a lot of people will go like, "Oh, Paul looks stupid," or, I mean, obviously, if I don't agree with your worldview, I'm gonna look stupid to you, right? Looking smart or elevating myself above what I am is just not what I'm in the game for. I just am never. I've never been that. You know what I mean? I kind of like actually prefer to be more real with people, right? Um, in terms of just being honest about where I stand on things, right? And I think there's like a perspective difference in me that maybe isn't understood or appreciated by Destiny's wider community, and maybe even Destiny himself, right? But I find the conversation interesting. I didn't want to pop in during all the heat of the electoral thing because I didn't want to be, just labeled outright antagonist, right? And I didn't want to like jump in at such a heated time. But now that he's kind of chilling post-election and kind of like trying to put together documents and stuff, and like I jumped in and we had a nice long conversation. Is the way I look at it, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a little bit of smugness to Destiny. A little, you know what I mean? There's smugness to me too, right? Like, he sniffs his own farts a little bit. And, there's a couple of things that during my rambling talks with Destiny that have come up that I think kind of reveal maybe not, I don't want to say blind spot in Destiny, but like, okay, so when I talked to Destiny at length, this was months ago, right? But I talked to him and we were talking about police brutality and why people don't or why people don't trust the cops or whatever it was, right? Over policing, that sort of thing. That was the topic, right? And we got into this topic of like when the police transgress, why would you trust the police to investigate it? And he, like, as we talked, because I was assuming he understood that internal affairs is who investigates the police. Internal affairs, internal means internal to the police department. People are raised up from street cops to these IA cops, right? It's all a big club. You don't want to, like, you were just at a dude's house for a barbecue and then today you got to ruin his life and you're not just going to bury that fucking transgression. You know what I mean? So, and he seemed to be like, at least at the beginning of that, unaware of even how cops would investigate that type of shit. But I've heard him talk, and then the fat thing yesterday, right? Where he was just like, yeah, fat people are hungry, so they eat. It's like, well, man, that's just like fucking wrong. I don't know how to tell you that, bro. He's talking about how he can show me study after study. I mean, yeah, show me study after study that eating more calories than you should makes you fat. I could show him study after study of the link between chronic obesity and mental problems, right? I mean, it's just like, you want to throw studies at each other or you want to talk, like, I don't know. I'm not saying every fucking fat person is mentally coping with their fatness or whatever. I'm saying a good proportion of people that are obese have mental issues, right? Hey, baby. Oh, you found your coffee? Mm-hmm. What you think, D? You definitely voted for Harris. Good guess, bro. After he went full TDS, I lost a lot of respect for him saying that. I mean, all right, dude, but like a lot of people went full TDS. A lot, dude. The Democratic Party is to blame for this shit, dude. They were calling Donald Trump the end of democracy. They were calling Donald Trump, Hitler, and comparing him to a Nazi, and comparing him, calling him a fascist, saying he was going to nuke the Constitution day one, and blah, blah. All this crazy fear-mongery shit, right, that it isn't even feasible on the face of it. So all this did was inflame some people's fears of this man, to the point of like mental breakdown, and then turn most people off, because it's like, come on, bro.
It's just, it sounds the same to a lot of people as like the Democrats are gonna take all our guns.
Yeah. I mean, like, Donald Trump, like, he's not even the worst president within my lifetime when we look at his 4 years as a president. Like, not even fucking close. Right? And that's just the truth. Not even close to the worst president in my lifetime. Like, probably like third on that list. I'm not even joking. I lived through the Reagan administration. I lived through the Bush administration, both of them. Bush Sr. and both of Bush Jr.'s terms, right? And you want to like try and convince me that Donald Trump's presidency was worse than any of that? You're going to have a hard fucking road to hoe, bro. I lived through 4 years of Trump, right? I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm saying that the fucking fear-mongering was off the charts, bro. Off the charts, and it turned a lot of people off. And the way it disappeared as soon as he won, you saw Kamala's like, don't let anybody steal your power.
Bernie's heel turn.
Bernie's heel turn right after the end. You know what I mean? It was just like all of that bullshit just went, you know what I mean? And now everybody's like, everything's chill. We got Joe Biden eating ice cream again.
He was chilling with Trump.
Yeah, chilling with Trump, just like walking around smiling and giggling and laughing and ribbing each other and shit, having a great old time, right? I thought he was Hitler. I thought the fucking very state of this country was at stake. I thought the Constitution itself was about to be burned. What happened to that energy? It just disappeared because it's a bunch of bullshit. No, I'm not, I'm not a Trump guy, dude.
I wonder if Biden was secretly like, since they kicked me out, they're gonna lose. And then he felt all like righteous at the end.
Dude, a lot of people have said that. A lot of people have said that Biden was forced at kind of like a gunpoint to like abdicate to Kamala. And maybe that's the reason why it went the way it did, because he would not agree unless it was her. Mm-hmm. Right? And a lot of people are saying he did that because the internal polling showed that she fucking... There was a story that came out on that recently where like all of the internal polling that Kamala's campaign did, none of it had her beating Trump ever. So it's like they knew she was losing. So where did that $1.5 billion go, right? It's just a big money laundering fucking scheme, bro. That's what I'm talking about. This turns people off to politics and makes people stay home, or, in a lot of cases, apparently, vote for the other guy to spite you, right? Now, you may think that's retarded. You can cry about it on fucking, streamers, chats, and all this shit till you're blue in the face, but it doesn't change the reality of it. When you come at people incorrect, a lot of people just turn their back on a system that's already got a shaky foundation of trust anyway. Like a lot, part of being an American is being failed by some bureaucratic system or another multiple times, or at the very least, seeing your family failed by it. So Trump is no extremist. He didn't govern like an extremist. He governed like a standard run-of-the-mill Republican, especially in the shadow of the Republican administrations that I've personally lived through in my life. Let's be real.
Like, do you think some people are just too young to remember that, like, whatever he did to gay people and immigrants, they just didn't always have that? Like, it's just going back. It's not even going.
It's not even going back. It's like, okay, I hate to fucking say it, right? But culture is separate from politics. And when it is politically expedient to hate gay people, politics hates gay people. You don't have to flip that far back in the archive to find Hillary Clinton arguing against gay marriage. It's because it was a political suicide note to take that kind of a fucking position just 15, 20 years ago, right? So it's politicians don't love gay people and they don't hate gay people. Gay people are a useful deflective foil. And when I say gay people, I'm bundling in the whole rainbow, right? They're a useful deflection from what people ought to be angry at. Not each other, not the gender expression of your neighbor, but the bankers and politicians and CEOs that have their fucking hands so deep in your pocket, they could check your fucking scrotum. Why aren't we mad at those people? Because we've been successfully convinced by a combination of like overhyped media shit and just apathy, I think, that the world is fantasy and a choose your own adventure novel, right? It's easier to think that your woes as a working class person are because gay. It's harder to think it's because the system doesn't give a fuck about you, bro. You're a cog. You're a unit of labor in somebody's fucking giant corporate mess, right?
Or other problems like the addiction crisis. It's easy to say, oh, it's all the immigrants bringing it in.
Right. Yeah. Immigrants are are like a favorite foil of both right-wing and left-wing politicians, right? It just depends on the time of year, what kind of economic situation is going on, how bad is the economy, and how bad do we need a scapegoat, right? The lib left, when the economy feels relatively stable, is perfectly good scalping votes off of Hispanic people by telling them they're going to protect them, right? But the truth of the matter is, the last mass naturalization that happened in this fucking country was Ronald Reagan.
And that's why, like, you know, a lot of Hispanic voters, they're like, why'd you vote for Trump? It's like, because the ones that are voting are legal.
I don't know, man.
Like, they're not, just because they're all Hispanic doesn't mean that, like, they see themselves in the same group as someone that recently crossed when they, like you said, there was that mass naturalization in the 80s that...
Yep. I mean, I don't know, man. I think people just lack political historical perspective. You know, I'm a genuine believer in everything is psychology. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, right? I believe that. It doesn't mean people and institutions don't change. Dinor's just shivering.
Oh, let me get both of us a sweater. How's that? Get us both a sweater.
He ain't gonna want to come back out. Well, there's this like worrying trend that I see amongst leftists, right? Where they're making this meme where they show some apocalyptic hellscape from a movie. And then the caption is, but at least my eggs were $2 a dozen or whatever the fuck, right? And it's like, do you honestly think after the staggering loss that liberals just took, that mocking people's economic concerns is going to gain you a single fucking vote? Are you pro LGBTQ? I'm the B. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, hope you get deported 2028. Hope your family falls into destitution 2028. You know what I mean? It's like, fucking shut up. People are just so rabid and retarded. They don't know how to think like a blue-collar electorate thinks anymore, right? And that's still what they're dealing with. I don't know. Hope you get deported. Yeah, good luck.
I got them burritos on the couch.
That's good. Poor guy. Like, I'm shaggy, but I'm not that shaggy. I may have to go in and bust out the coat.
Yeah.
Throw on some gloves.
It's very, like, damp cold today, I think.
It's not as cold as it was like last week, but it's damp. So it clings to you a little bit. Yeah. Have you ever thought about getting the laser eye surgery? I will not ever. I will not ever. Yeah. I just, I understand, like, there's an intellectual side of me that's like, it'd probably be pretty fucking simple for them to correct your astigmatism or whatever the fuck and, like, make your eyes work better. A lot of people go through it. I haven't heard of any stories of somebody's eyeballs getting burned out, right? But here's the problem. I saw the fucking procedure. My friend TJ and his brother, like right around the same time, went and got this surgery done. And I was like, man, I've heard horrible things about that surgery, like in terms of like what they do to your eye with that laser. And so I went and YouTubed it. And I was like, his glasses for me, bro. I'm sorry. I don't want to risk it. That shit looks fucking insane, bro.
Well, also, like, you're not, like, blind without your glasses. You just can't read without your glasses.
I mean, it's right. Like, yeah. I mean, like, this would be.
Like, I think you'd have a different conversation if, like, you just had to put your glasses on the second you woke up to see any goddamn thing.
Sure. I'm definitely not that bad, but I'm progressively getting worse. Like, it's harder and harder for me to read shit. And so I could definitely probably go get that process pretty much like halted, or at the very least put off for another 20 years, right? And I know a ton of people get it, and it's like almost outpatient. But fuck that, bro. Somebody just slips or farts.
Well, not everyone can get it either.
And you're just like, oh, well, he's got one eye now.
Like, just because someone has glasses doesn't necessarily mean that, like, what LASIK would fix it. For different things.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't trust that shit, bro. I'm good with my eyeballs. All natural. I'll just wear the glasses, man. I feel the same way about contact lenses, bro. My first, serious live-in relationship, my partner had those fucking contacts, right? And I remember one time she was like, I need your help. And I was like, all right. She goes, I was fucking flabbergasted. She goes, my contact is behind my eye, and I can't see which side I can grab it from. So I need you to look real close when I look over this way and see the contact, and then tell me which side it's on and where it's at so I can get. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Your contact is behind your eye. Yeah. And then I heard another story this old lady, and this is like one of them fucking, who knows, maybe somebody made it up, but I think it's true. This old lady goes to the hospital with eye pain, and they think, oh, she got cataracts or something. They take like, x-rays of her eyeballs. She's got like 20 pairs of contact lenses up behind her eye. Fuck that. No. I'll just put the glasses on, man. I think we figured it out with the glass. I mean, look, they're not the most convenient thing, right? Then maybe we could come up with some better glasses. Like, I would love them to use some space age material, so if my fat ass falls asleep with these on and I roll over on them, they just go, you know what I mean? Like, why? Like, why are they still stiff?
Or just a little bit sturdier. Like, your phone doesn't do that now. They've made the phone strong enough that if you sit on them, you're fine. Within reason.
But then there's like, on top of it, the glasses are kind of like they become like a fashion statement too, right? Like, I'm not a big fashion guy, but I like the way I look in glasses, and so it helps for that, right? There's nothing wrong with, liking the way that you look. But yeah, the contacts, I couldn't do it. I just don't like put my finger up in my eye. I was always told that was a bad thing to do. Like, I'll go scratching, like with the back of my knuckle and my eye closed. I'll get digging in there sometimes, and that's not good. But man, I don't go like finger into the eye. I can't do.
Probably the most you would do is like if you had an eyelash, you might like touch like the little thing in the center and get it out or something.
I had a doctor growing up, like a childhood family doctor, and both he and his wife are dead now. Dr. Johnstone was his name, and he told me, and I haven't always followed this, but I try. He told me when I was a kid, he said, only thing you put in your eye or your ear is your elbow. You can't put your fucking elbow in your ear unless you could dislocate your fucking, I guess some people might be able to like, I don't know. But that's the whole point. You don't put fucking shit in your ear, and you don't put, now my ear.
Clean the outside is kind of what it's implying to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you just gotta protect that shit. Yeah, I'm the same. I get the itchy eye and stuff, and like if I had contacts, that's how it gets pushed around behind the backside of your fucking, nah. No, I'll just wear the glasses, man. I don't think I've ever seen a person where I was like, damn, they need to ditch them glasses. I've just never looked at it that way. I don't know. I always thought
maybe when you were a kid and you were a shithead, like all little kids are.
I don't remember even making fun of, because like one of my closest friends had glasses. Well, my closest friend wore glasses. It just wasn't something that, like, I don't know. I always thought they were kind of cool. Now I'm glad I'm fucking finally busted up enough to wear glasses. Oh, get myself a little bit more coffee. Let's go. re-burrito the dynamite.
Yeah, he got up to see you.
Huh?
Got up to see you and carried it off.
Well, he just like sat up and it kind of flopped off of him, and I went over there and I gave him the full mummy wrap.
Yeah.
What song was that? Was it Helter Skelter that they played backwards, the Beatles record, and they thought it said, Paul is dead. Miss him, miss him, miss him. And then it started this whole like conspiracy theory back in the day that Paul McCartney was dead and replaced with a body double. Revolution 9, yeah. That's funny. Just goes to show you that the crazy was always there. That like a lot of people think like the internet created all this crazy conspiracy shit. It's like, no, the internet allowed these crazy conspiracy people to meet up.
Yeah.
To like find each other.
I guess yeah. There's more reinforcement maybe.
Maybe, but I don't from that, because there were people that legit believed that. You know? Probably to this day, there's some old ass fucking old heads that are like, Paul McCartney, this fucking ain't really Paul McCartney.
Well, yeah, it's crazy how viral things got even without the internet.
Well, because it was a different type of virality,
Yeah.
right? So it filtered out a lot of shit that probably wouldn't have otherwise vocally or person to person gone viral, right? Like I started a meme at my high school. And I was one of the early adopters of the internet. So I was doing one of my storytelling things where people, like I was just telling a story to my friends and then people would gather around, we're laughing, right? I was talking about like how depraved the internet was. I was like, I don't know if you guys have been on this shit, but like I saw something the other night that changed my whole shit. And they're like, what? I was like, dude, I saw this asshole on a woman, but it was that big. It was gaped. You know, we didn't know the term gape, okay? But like, I'd never seen any shit like that in my life. And I'd come across this picture and they were like, bullshit. I was like, I'll print it. I'll bring that shit. I'll bring that shit to school. Don't tempt me. And nobody wanted to believe. And so I went home and I printed out big butthole, right? That's what the meme was in the school, by the way, right? Printed that shit out, brought it to school. Sure enough. And that became the symbol, right? Well, after I got busted for it. I kind of got a talking to for bringing that kind of material to school, but I got away with shit at school. I rizzed my way through that. I claimed I didn't print it. Claimed I just found it and I was showing it like, what the fuck is this, right? You know what I mean? We smoothed that. But for the rest of that year and then beyond, that was the symbol. People I didn't even know would throw it up. Big butthole. Look, dude, sometimes a meme just happens. But that word of mouth shit meant that the big butthole probably never escaped my campus. Right?
Maybe it did.
But maybe it did. Maybe it went out there in the wild.
Maybe some army kid moved somewhere else, brought it over there.
Who knows? Yeah. Big butthole.
I'd say army kids are probably like the bulk of memes before the internet.
Well, there was some wild shit. Like I remember some memes around my school, but I've talked to people that grew up all the way on the other side of the fucking United States.
Like the Marilyn Manson one, that he could suck his own dick. He cut out a rib to suck
Yeah,
his own dick.
yeah. He took out a rib to suck his own dick on stage. There was, and there were certain lingo too, like meme lingo, like the kids say Riz or Skibbity, right? Like we used to say moted. Like if you got roasted. Like if you were confidently wrong, then we would say moded. You got moded, M-O-D-E-D. And I thought that that was local lingo, but I have no fucking clue where it came from. And I've talked to people on the East Coast that are my age or in that range. They're like, oh yeah, I remember moded. And it's like, who started moded? How did it get, you know what I mean? It's just word of mouth shit. People moving from place to place, picking up different lingo, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. The internet has uncovered certain obsessions that I'd rather not known about. That's what the internet is for. There was that Puppet song, remember? The internet is for porn, that song. It's kind of true. Psych. Psych. People say psych. People know what psych means, right? Like, there's got to be some skibbities in here. You guys know what psych is, right?
I know, but I don't know about the younger ones.
Yeah. You're right on the edge. Psych. Yeah, psych. Yeah. Psych is the same thing it always was. That one stuck around. I've seen like rappers using it and shit. People that are like fucking 20, 22. So it's stuck around, you know. Psych is what you say, right? When you're not gaslight, when you're leading somebody down the primrose path and telling them a whopper of a tale and they're believing it a little too hard, you say psych, right?
Or I guess cap would be a good.
No, cap is just lie.
Yeah.
Cap is just, that's how you call somebody out. Before they say psych, you say cap. Dude, I know all the fucking lingo, bro. I may as well be a fucking broccoli top. I may as well go down right today to the place and tell them, give me a broccoli top. Or a mullet.
I don't know how your hair would take to perming because it's so thick.
Well, see, my granddad had a perm for the last 25 years of his life, and it looked resplendent. Resplendent.
Yeah, that was how my grandpa was too.
Permed. All the way up. Permed. No.
But he had more hair like mine, you know, the thinner stuff.
Yeah. What else was there? Just crazy memes from back in the day, pre-internet. I'm trying to think. George Washington had wooden teeth.
I think that was more.
Is that like partially
a meme? I think it was. It has to have been going on longer than that. That was like probably some fucking political myth. Or
well,
whatever.
I mean, that's how some memes started.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just like a political hit piece or whatever. Yeah, Washington and the cherry tree is kind of a meme because that never, you didn't fucking, that never happened. It was just like an allegory to show how honest he was.
I mean, yeah, the main thing is like before the internet, it was a process to fact check anything.
Right.
Like you could, but you had to go get out the encyclopedia.
I mean, even there, I mean,
and then the encyclopedia could be wrong too.
Yeah, or just not mention it. I mean, how long ago was the encyclopedia made? You know what I mean? A lot of this shit is just not. You know what I mean?
And you'd have to go through the fucking newspapers, at the library, or something.
Yeah, I think we're rapidly losing the time though that the internet makes that any better.
Yeah.
There's so much misinformation on the internet, right?
Oh yeah, like you can look something up and the first 5 things you see are just
complete
bullshit.
garbage or ads for a company that's trying to sell you something.
Or some SEO clickbait article.
Yeah. Washington and a cherry tree is the meme. Yeah. I guess so. Oh, I'm trying to think. More 80s memes. Some of them turned out to be true. George Michael is gay was a meme, but he didn't come out as gay until like the mid 90s, I think. Some people just kind of like, you know, George Michael is gay. You're gayer than George Michael was a meme. Let's see. What was another meme from? My brain is starting to get fuzzy on, you know, like 80s lore. I was only 10 in the 80s. Let's see. Well, I mean, 9 was the oldest I was in the 80s, so I'm trying to think. Yeah, because the Marilyn Manson one was a 90s meme. That was definitely like a 1993, 4 meme, I think. I don't know. Who killed JR? Oh, yeah, who shot JR? Yeah. Dallas was a super popular, I don't know what you'd even call it. I guess not sitcom. What do they call ones that's not like a drama show? About a powerful oil baron family or whatever the fuck. And JR was like the head of the family, right? And the series culminates in him getting murdered. And there's this big whodunit. And in the lamest shit possible, right? The final episode of Dallas, fucking it goes, I shit you not, bro. It goes, doodaloo, 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 and JR wakes up and it was all a dream, bro. You gotta be kidding me. People were so invested, dude. The screen literally goes,
What would you say is the most disappointing show ending you've ever seen?
Well, for me, it's always because it lacked an ending. The fucking way that they canceled out of Deadwood. Deadwood was such a complex and well-written show. And the way that it just like so abruptly ends with nothing resolved. I mean, they try to make that movie, but everybody's fucking ancient. It's like you're not really seeing what happened between them. You're seeing the aftermath of how everything settled out, which is interesting. I liked the movie,
but it wasn't the same.
But I would have rather have
conclusion.
Yeah, 2 more seasons. You let David Firth or whatever write 2 more seasons, and then not David Firth. I keep David Finch. Maybe that's who I'm thinking. Anyway, whoever it was that wrote that shit, let him write 2 more seasons to an arc conclusion, right? That would have been so nice. But I genuinely feel like, because up until that point, I was so hesitant to watch TV shows. Because I got to tell you, the early 2000s were a wasteland of television. It was Friends and just a bunch of bullshit that was not for me. And so I was already boomerish on watching TV shows. Deadwood comes along, and I'm like, fuck, okay, there is some really good shows being made. I get all invested. I buy HBO so I can catch it every fucking week when it comes out, and it just dies. It just goes away, right? I mean, you can end a show in a shitty way, dude. So you could say Dallas has a shitty ending, but at least it's got an ending, right? At least you can go like, fuck, I hated that ending. Woo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. You know what I mean? But
that happened to Pushing Daisies too. It kind of had a very abrupt ending, but they just tried to they knew it was ending, so they just shoved a bunch of shit in the last episode or whatever to make it wrap up.
I guess that's a little better than nothing, but yeah, that sucks too. But the 2000s was just like for TV shows. Dude, some of the titles, like there was a show called Will and Grace. There was a show called Friends. There was a show called Designing Women. There was a show called, I mean, it was just like wasteland material, bro. I mean, it's just garbage fucking TV. And it's just like, what am I supposed to watch, right? Like, I mean, Modern Family's a little later, but yeah, I mean, that's just part of the wasteland, right? I guess Modern Family, I've watched a few episodes of Modern Family, and I laughed a few times. I like Ed O'Neill a lot.
It was funny, like at Thanksgiving, someone was telling you like a whole plot of an episode,
Yeah.
like you remembered any of the characters.
But yeah, no, I don't know, man. I'm still to this day, I'm very selective. Like, if I'm gonna jump into a TV show, you better believe that if the vibes are wrong, I'm out. Because I don't want to get wrapped up into some bullshit, man. Game of Thrones just reinforced that to me. Such a fan of the books that I had to watch the show when it came out. Super happy with the show for about 5 seasons, or maybe 4, and then 5 and 6 just went to shit, bro. 5, the descent started rapidly, and 6 was just a shit show. Just garbage. And I was just like, man,
Brand the broken.
I mean, just fucking, why don't you just break my skull open so I don't have to watch this show ever again? It was just garbage. You know what I mean? See, bro? Zach, you said Walking Dead was the last time I will get disappointed. I feel you on that, but I'm telling you, this philosophy of mine, don't get sucked into people that are trying to hype you up on TV shows, is why I've watched 1 episode of The Walking Dead and I cut and ran, dude. I was like, nah, I don't need fucking a whole, I'm not gonna get sucked into this until there's a conclusion, right? I didn't watch The Sopranos for fucking years, bro. The Sopranos shit happened in like 2000, 2001 is when that all wrapped up and culminated and shit, right? And fucking, dude, I didn't watch The Sopranos for the first time until like 2015. Because I wanted to know that this was a well-established thing. It wasn't just a hype train, garbage TV fest, that people actually remembered it 10 years on. Okay, I'll check it out. And I was not disappointed with that. Same thing goes for Breaking Bad. That shit was popular. When did that come out? 2006? 7? That era, right? We watched it when? 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Something like that? The Wire, right? That came out in the fucking early 2000s. I didn't watch that shit until 2 years ago.
We haven't had like a show in a while. I guess we technically have Three Body, but I think we got to admit to ourselves that we don't like it much with how little we watch it.
I mean, there is something to be said.
Like we're halfway through it, 6 months in or some shit.
Here's the thing with Three Body, okay? I will tell you what I could do with that Three Body show. Get stoned and binge it. Just force myself to sit through it, because I know there's some moments in there that are going to be worth catching. I know the books. Even with the Chinese excision of, like, self-criticism, right? Or the hiding of it. But they, like, that, and I think it really is just a storytelling difference. Melodrama is huge over there. Look, you have to look at what the Chinese market gobbles up from over here. And I'm telling you, dude, they love what I, as a cinephile, consider to be like gut bucket, garbage cinema. Transformers, right? The new Indiana Jones shit, the new Star Wars shit. That's the stuff that blows the fuck up in China, right? And so they are big on like tropes from American movies that are probably 30 years sour. Because they just haven't had a film industry or access to Western media for that long. So they're kind of going through it. And this show shows it. The melodrama is insane. Just like the quivering kind of like, and the way that Chinese people are simultaneously overcome with the emotive power of a conversation, but stoic through it. There's only one character in the whole show who's not a stoic. Right? And he's in far too little of it. I keep wishing that there's more detectives.
Yeah. Well, because, like, I mean, part of it is, like, knowing the twist, I guess. Like, I guess maybe these past few episodes that have been dragging ass telling us the twist.
That doesn't help.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that both of us are aware of, like, I'm trying to think of it like, and from that perspective, maybe it's a little more watchable. But I think even if I didn't know what the twist
You'd
was,
be like, well, what the fuck is it?
I'd be
Come
like,
on.
what? Like, could you just? Or I would have already guessed it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're really heavily implying what it is
Yeah.
at this point, and
Yeah.
so it's just like your audience already kind of knows. See, the American version was, I think, too truncated in terms of the story. It was a good show.
Yeah.
It was watchable. I'm interested to see what the next season of it is going to be, right? Or the next book if they do it. But it was too truncated. This one is far too. I mean, if anything, I feel like it expands
Yeah,
on an already wordy book.
Like, you could just listen to the audiobook, we'd probably be done faster.
Well,
than
I did. I mean, that's how I read the book, right? And it's like, I don't remember this much minutia, and so they've added in some of this melodrama. Some of it is probably for product placement and shit too. Just like, we need another scene, or we need this scene to be longer because the watch he's wearing needs to be on the screen, or the car he's driving needs to be in. You know what I mean? Probably a lot of that going on, coupled with just a I don't know, just a cultural love at this point for extreme melodrama. And look, it's not like that hasn't been popular in the United States at certain times. In fact, you could argue that like the melodrama of the Avengers is really what we're into now. It's kind of like, you know, oh no, Thanos killed everybody. Oh, we brought him back. Oh, Iron Man's dead. It's all the same shit, right?
Because, I think there has been, like, over the course of one conversation, supposedly, between Yawensia and him, like, 3 episodes of that one
Of her
conversation.
just revealing to him that she was looking at aliens. We know. We know it's them aliens. But, yeah, that's how I could finish that show, I think, is just like, all right,
We're just gonna plop down and just...
I'm going to take a massive dose of edibles, and I'm not going to stand up until I'm done. Unless I got to pee or poop. And then I'll come right back.
We have like 15 hours left.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It would be a day. You know what I mean? But that's how it'd have to be.
Yeah.
That's how it'd have to be. I just have to get eddied up. Keep it eddied up for 15 hours and just let it soak, you know what I mean? Get in that stoned ass flow state and just let it soak. That's the only way I could get through it. You could mix up a couple fucking White Russians, get yourself a little pliable, you know what I mean? That'd probably help too. We just sit on the couch, you drunk, me stoned, and we get through it.
I wouldn't want to be drunk that long.
That's the one. See, you gotta sip it. I can't help you manage the alcohol, you know what I mean? Could a super advanced alien civilization even look like us, or would they be physical beings like us? That's one of the things that, like, a lot of people stop at, what does the pop culture say about aliens, right? Pop culture says aliens are little humanoid gray men with big bug eyes, right? And they think of some like variation of that. It's always a hominid, right? It's always an animal walking on 2 legs with a structure that's basically recognizable to us as humans.
You know, limbs and legs and
and eyes and mouth and little, you know, whatever, right? It walks, it talks, right? Chances are, unless, all right, there are some things that might belie that morphology is more widespread in the universe, right? Panspermia, this idea that life isn't something that comes by necessarily a chemical process independent of itself, but maybe a planet that is suitable for it is seeded by some fossilized or dormant form of this life, in a meteor strike or some shit. Look, dude, I'm not the scientist to pick through all of that, but the chances are, right, there being light years separating us and the next inhabitable planet, right? chances are any kind of being that we would run across in a theoretical situation would look nothing like us, would have values nothing like ours, right? Because all of that is dependent on the environment on which we live and the history of our species, which is interdependent with all other species on this planet. The unique history of Earth is different from the unique history of whatever planet Zordon the fucking aliens are from, right? And so this assumption that they're going to be, something that we recognize as human beings is, it's like pareidolia, right? It's like seeing our face in the universe, seeing our face in the random patterns on things, right? Aren't we so primitive, Paul? I mean, like the people, I think people underappreciate the meteoric acceleration of technological advancement that's happening as we all grow up, right? 200 years ago, which is just a speck of fucking time in the grand evolutionary scale of things, right? We've gone from basically living subsistence lives, most of us living as serfs and peasants and fucking just like scraping together some kind of an existence, right? 99.9% of humanity under the yoke of extreme privation, right? And now, I can turn on the air conditioner because it's a little balmy outside. You get me? The amount of that, the leap from that to this, it's a little balmy. Let me, you know what I mean? And you don't got to go back 10,000 years to find that in humanity. You go back 100 years and find that in humanity. Most of humanity living that way, right?
I like how Neil Asher introduced the Praetor as an alien that's not like us, that are kind of like crabby.
Yeah. Crustacean-like.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common thing in sci-fi, like the Tyranids in Warhammer or whatever, the Zerg. The idea of this insectoid or crustacean-like entity with different morphologies that doesn't have the same. It's like I bring up 40K a lot because it's just like such a conglomeration of all these classic sci-fi works, right? It just takes liberally from pretty much everybody in the book. And the Tyranid race is almost like, if you look at it from the perspective of a biologist, right, or somebody that's studying an organism, they're not evil. They're not in fact, they're perfect as far as an organism goes, right? They move from place to place and assimilate every piece of biological matter that they can get into with maximum efficiency. There's no infighting and crazy bullshit because they're a hive mind, right? So there's no individualism. It's all 100% for the collective. And they're better at it than any other species. Every other species is trying to do the same thing, moving throughout the planetary systems and assimilating as much fucking material out of the planet as they can and moving on, right? But the Tyranids are just better at it, right? So they're not evil, they're just an organism. And I think that is what we might find if we find intelligent life. Something like the Q. So if you there's a book called All Tomorrows, I think it's called. And this book posits that like the human race meets this alien species called the Q, and that the Q sees this abundance of life forms on our planet as, one of the things that the Q value as a species is their mastery over the evolutionary process. And so when they find another species, they think it is in the best interest of that species for them to be experimented with until their best form is found. And ultimately, the Q accomplish that in a way that makes sure that humanity, or at least the seed of humanity, remains forever. But it also creates all of these horrible ectomorph humans that were once human beings, but now are just like, there's there's a whole planet, right, where they created this mat of what used to be human beings, and it filters the sewage of the city above it. And that's what they do, right? There's a vestige of human mind left in them, but their bodies and evolutionary like track has been changed to where they're like a collective organism, and the only way they can survive is by eating the sewage from the Q city, right? They put another species and have it adapt to this huge planet that has massive crushing gravity. So they still have like kind of identifiable human morphology, but they slither along the ground, and their bodies have, their limbs have atrophied, and their bodies have taken this flat countenance, right? And it's everything in between. Most of these branches of humanity are just doomed. But ultimately, one branch of humanity manages to colonize off of planet and learn how to live just among the stars, right? And it wouldn't have gotten there had the Q not pushed the evolutionary boundary in so many different ways, right? So are the Q evil for taking humanity off of our own planet where likely we're just going to destroy ourselves, and elevating us through millions of years of weird evolutionary tinkering to a starfaring species, right? At least that's how I took the book when I read it. Like that pressure, right? That selective pressure, or exploring the entirety of the expressive possibilities of our genetic makeup, right? With no ethical concern for the lives of the things that you're creating, right? Ethics in that way were not built into Q society, because Q society was so masterful and dominant over their reality that they were functionally eternal. So the flickering of one life or the suffering of one species is, you know, a tiny little blip on the overall plan, right? No. I think I'm about to be chilled out of this. Did that book come before or after Star Trek? It's the Q is spelled QU, and I don't know. I think it came after Star Trek, but you would have to look. Anunnaki theory. I mean, dude, here's what I understand about Anunnaki. There's a planet, right, called Nibiru, that is in a slow, occluded orbit that is like locked with Earth, right? But it's just slightly faster than the Earth in its orbit, right? And the orbit is very close to Earth. And at certain parts in human history, there's some strange planetary conjunction, right? Where Nibiru comes out from behind the sun, and the things that live on it, we call them Anunnaki, right? And the idea is like, these are the biblical angels, right? These things come and they just wreak havoc on the planet and blah, 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 blah. And then the fucking planet goes away and they all go away. And it's another fucking 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 year cycle or whatever, right? I think that's bullshit. I call bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that one. I'm calling it hardcore BS on that one. Was a lid? Lid is before my time, but my stepdad's a big stoner, so, you know. A lid used to be how you bought weed. Came in like a little, you know what I mean? Little container. Andy Weir's book, Project Hail Mary, is a good read, and it has opinions on the subject. I started Project Hail Mary, yeah. I need to go back and start it again, because I kind of fell out of reading it. Not out of disinterest, I just got interested in something else and got pulled away. They genetically mutated us to be able to mine gold, and then they left and we thrived. Yeah. This is like Stargate shit, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, the fucking Egyptians were enslaved by a crazy alien race, and then they like took a bunch of us and left, and now they're coming back, man. They're coming back to get us, bro. I don't know. I don't buy this shit. Anyway, I'm fucking frozen, bro. I'm out of here.